Good morning. I've been seeing a lot of posts on a lot of women talking about if a man ain't making six figures, if he ain't paying everything, they don't deserve to date him. And it kind of bothered me because it'd be a lot of women in their 20s and 30s be expecting a man to pay everything. And then they always reference saying, well, my granddaddy did this back in the day. He paid for everything he did. You should do the same thing. But I'm going to just give you some game. Look, back in the day, our grandparents, most likely in the 40s and the 50s, a lot of women wasn't working because, number one, the cost of living was way cheaper back then, where mortgages was like $100, $200 back in those days. Number two, women were still being discriminated getting jobs. Even though women had rights to vote and all of that, women were still being discriminated. So a lot of women didn't even work no jobs. And even they got a job, it was being something crappy. So, and also now in today's world, it takes a lot of money to take care of a whole household. So one time I did a calculation where if I had 2 cars, one for each spouse, a house, taking with also insurances, bills, all of that, car insurance, all of that, I did the math. I would have to at least make $200,000 to $250,000 to cover all expenses. How many men you know in America that makes over $200,000? It's not a lot. It's maybe about less than 15% of men that makes that type of money. And I know some people say, why 200,000? They could do it with 100,000. Yeah, 100,000, but now in 2025, 100,000 is like 50,000 in today's world. There's people I know in California that's making $100,000 a year, and they still trying to apply for food stamps in California and in New York. So it's crazy. And I know some women talking about, I want a man that makes 6 figures to cover everything, but it's not a lot of men there. Now, in America, there's more men making between $50,000 to $75,000 a year, but it's very less men making between $100,000 to $200,000, maybe $500,000 a year. And you can't always put all the responsibility on the men. And the thing that be killing me is someone be wanting Negroes that's in their 20s. You gotta understand, women, men that's between the ages of 18 to 24, those are years of just finding yourself. That's how men are. Most of the time between 18 to 24, most men are broke because they're struggling in college, trying to make themselves better, or they just graduated out of high school and trying to get their footing in the real world by trying to find a decent, steady job. And in those 6 years, those are years you're trying to establish yourself. And then most times, when you hit your stride at 25, now you finally got a decent job. You can work. Now you're trying to get your footing. Now you're trying to get out your parents' house. And then boom, by the time you're 27, now you finally got somewhat type of equity into yourself. You got an apartment, you got a car, and all of that. So it usually take a man 7 to 10 years to get his footing in the door. If he don't have one of those high paying jobs straight out of college, like an engineer or somebody in the IT field, then most times within that period, most men are trying to find their footing. So it just kind of bothers somehow today's dating world is, most men don't have that type of money. And I know some women gonna say, oh, that's sassy. No, it's not sassy. It's the truth. Because if a guy expects a woman to make $100,000 a year and help cover some of the bills, y'all will get mad over it. But yes, it is the guy's responsibility to provide and protect. But let's be realistic. We in 2025. You have to at least make $200,000 to $250,000 a year to cover everything. That's house note, car notes, insurances for the kids, insurances for yourself, house insurance, also emergency funds if something break in the house where you have to pay thousands of dollars to get fixed. Also, you have to groceries, light bill. Think about it. A lot of that plays into the fact. Then if your kids are small, you got to pay for daycare and everything. So you got to think about it. That's a lot of money. Daycare is expensive now. Daycare now, I know some places that it's $350 a week now. Some places, and then in other high-end places in the suburbs, some people was charging $400 a week. Daycare is expensive. So yeah, but it's kind of crazy how stuff is now. It just, the dating world is so crazy. I'm glad I'm married. I'm glad I'm out that dating world. I'm glad I've been out of that world for the last 12 years and I'm married to somebody, so to my lovely wife. So yeah, but yeah, tell me what y'all think.